comment that was made on Facebook the other day about being a submissive woman. They were saying that a submissive woman controls her man, and I agree with that. I think until we begin to talk in honesty and transparency and stop pandering to both sides, especially to the sisters, because there is so much entitlement, and because men have been quiet for so long, and it's been the men that has been quiet were the type of men that y'all really need to be listening to. The men that doing the most talking ain't the ones, they don't have nothing to say anyway.
What's good? It's your boy Quay Price, man, holding it down for Kandid Konvos. Definitely check us out every Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. People today, they lazy. Ain't nobody trying to put in no work. If stuff start getting a little rough in the relationship or in the marriage, ain't nobody trying to fix nothing. Like, I mean, that's how people's mindsets are today. Yeah, but that's how I know that folks don't truly understand what marriage was about, because they tap out way too easy. Yeah, you see people fight harder for a job, like they can't go get another one of them in 2 weeks. Yeah, she's talking about these guys coming to these foreign countries and sourcing out these foreign women because they possess these character traits. Yep, they're more cooperative when it comes to a man, or they're more cooperative when it comes to a marriage and a relationship. They're more, nurturing forward when it comes to a relationship. They're more I don't even want to use the word soft, but I'll use the word soft. They're softer when it comes to, these relationships and interactions with men and so forth. And like I said, we definitely got to be honest. We see a difference, right? We see a difference. And I think, Chloe and Tay made some good points earlier. A lot of this stuff is based around money over here in the West. What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good with everybody? Welcome back to Kandid Konvos. I'm your host, Quay Price. We got Coco on deck. Say what's up to the people, Coco.
Hey, everybody.
Well, I said ain't no happy Wednesday, no that on there.
I mean, you never know when you might see this show, so never know. Might not be on a Wednesday.
No, that's true. I ain't mad at that. Well, shout out to y'all for joining us tonight. Let's say if you haven't already, smash that like button. Likes are free. Smash that like button for us. Also hit that share. We want to get this content and this conversation out to as many of our people as possible. So definitely smash that like button, smash that share as well. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe. Yeah, we're trying to grow the platform, trying to expand our reach. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already as well. So like I said, we can get it, get this information out to as many of our people as possible. All right, let me do this real quick. Make sure, man. Out of whack right here. Okay, here we go. Here's a link to join us on the panel. You can drop this in your Google Chrome, your Microsoft Edge. If you're coming through an Apple device, you got to use Safari. But, man, drop this link in your browser. Join us on the panel. Don't be scared. Yeah, you got to cam up to come on the panel. Well, you know, we at least need to verify who you are before we let you up on the panel. So just keep that in mind. In addition to the video feed, we also have this link in the chat feeds as well. So you can catch it at the Kandid Konvos page on YouTube or Facebook. And yeah, it's just gonna be just like that. So we're gonna keep it simple like that. So I'm gonna leave this link up here in the video feed for a little bit as we get into the conversation. All right, let me see what we got checking in. Oh, is that JR popping in? What's going on with you, man? I think you're muted right now.
You see me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
We can see you too, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we can hear him. Oh, yeah, I can hear you. How you doing? You all right, man?
Yeah, I think my phone's playing up. I don't know why.
Okay. It's all good. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Yeah, you know, sun's out, legs out. So, you know, we're enjoying. Yeah, I'm all good. Thanks. How you like though?
Oh, we doing good, man. All right, we just getting started, man. Hold tight for a minute. All right. So, see, we got the link up. We'll leave it up
no
for a little
worries,
bit as
no
we get
worries.
into the... Okay, cool. Let me see what we got checking in early. Let's see. Shout out to Eva Wright in the building. She said, hey, y'all, what's going on, Eva Wright? Appreciate you hopping on with us tonight. Always holding us down. All right. So, yeah, we're going to get right on to it tonight. We ain't going to hold it up. Let me go ahead and drop this title. So tonight we are talking, topic for tonight, why are some black fathers deadbeats? We run that back. Topic for tonight. Why are some fathers or black fathers deadbeats? All right. So we can if you want to. Let's say this is a couple. So we can if you want to. So guess what you want to do? Come on off mute. You ain't gotta come on off mute. What's going on?
Yeah, no, let's save the meat for a second course. Let's open it up. Let's have an icebreaker.
Okay, we're gonna start with something easy.
I didn't know this needed to be said, but you know you're supposed to see your child every day, right? I don't know why y'all keep coming in my comment section talking about, well, he does get to see his child 3 times a week. And that's not enough. I don't know how some of you were raised, but I'm going to let you know this. Just because your parents didn't want to see you every day, or you didn't get to see your parents every day, does not mean that's the reality and how things are supposed to be. Some of you don't realize that you didn't grow up in the best situations, but just because you're doing okay, that means other people can go through the same things. That's not how things work. That's not how growth works. You were supposed to see your child every single day. Now, of course, there's situations where that's not realistic just due to work. And I think that's really the only thing that should keep you from seeing your kids, because you got a job, you traveling, you got to go places, and you come back home. But in the grand scheme of life, you are supposed to see your child every single day. That is called being a parent. And just because you grew up in the dynamic where that didn't happen, that does not mean that's the norm.
Okay. That was video number 1. Shout out to the brother in the video. But yeah, like I said, tonight we are talking why are some black fathers deadbeats. Let me see who else we got checking in. Shout out to Kenyatta in the building. She said happy Wednesday. What's going on, Kenyatta? Appreciate you hopping on with us tonight, checking in. See, shout out to my guy Vince. He said, hey, what's going on, Vince? Appreciate you hopping on. Yes, holding down the platform. I think this video did come from Vince, actually. Yeah, Vince sent that over. So yeah, so we talking we'll come back to number 2 in a minute. Now you're flipping up on me over here. So we talking some of these black fathers being deadbeats. So video number 1, the brother's talking about the fact that we got situations where we acting like it's okay for the father to be seeing his kids a couple days out the week, sometimes here, there, a little bit. But this brother is saying that fathers need to see their kids every day. So yeah, drop a comment. Y'all all saw the video. Drop a comment. Let me know what y'all say. YouTube and Facebook in the building. Drop a comment. Let me know what y'all think on what the brother was saying. I'm gonna come back to the panel. Coco Jr. I know I got my little 2 cents. You want to get anything off your chest real quick, Coco?
No, I mean, I think that obviously I agree. I think that we live in a society where there's a lot of co-parenting going on, and we understand that that's just the situation that we have. Like, we understand that. But I think that we are normalizing it in a way that's doing a disservice for us, right? Like, the truth of the matter is our children do need both their parents in their lives more consistently. Mothers and fathers, both roles are equally as important. And I think that that's the part that we're missing. When we began to normalize, the fact that we're not having both parents available, we're not having both parents consistently involved, that I'm trying to figure out the right way to say it. It's not productive for the kids, right? Our kids are suffering. And I think that warrants a conversation, which is why we're talking about it tonight. Now, the whole other piece to that is, why aren't the fathers more consistent? Why aren't they? And we understand that there are women who have made single fathers. So we know that exists too. But for this particular topic, we're talking about men, because men are the ones being called the deadbeats, right? So why is it that men are choosing to opt out or just not showing up, not being available, right? Like, what circumstances will lead a man to decide that he doesn't want to be involved or to be able to walk away from his child? Like, how do we get here? And I think that's what we need to discuss tonight. Like, how do we get to this point, right? Because we always hear it from the female perspective. He's a deadbeat. He don't do nothing. Like, he ain't ish. He don't ever see his kids. But from a male perspective, what leads a man to get to that point of he doesn't want to be bothered with the kids, or, he's just absent?
Shout out to Beatbox. I say you just hop on, man. What's going on with you, man? I'm just this is an interesting topic, right? Because I know we're talking about here. Hold on, let me read this comment. See a couple comments came in. Hold on real quick. Shout out to my guy Donovan. He said good evening. What's going on, Donovan? Appreciate you hopping on tonight, brother. See, he also said nut clarity. So you talking about the post nut clarity? Huh.
It sounds like y'all need to figure out a way to get that beforehand. That's a little too late.
Let me put this back on Donovan. Donovan, is there such thing as pre-nut clarity? Drop a comment. Let me know what you said about that. Let's see. Eva Wright said, let's see, there's so much to it. Some men that don't care. Some men being given a hard time by the mother and or child being used as a pawn. Huh. Okay. Well, Eva Wright went on and laid it out. Interesting. Okay, let me hold on. We got some keep going. Let's see. Donovan said nope. Okay, so I guess it ain't no. Donovan, come on, man. You telling me it ain't no pre-nut clarity? So I know fellas talk about after it's done, but I'm like, you mean to tell me there's no clarity we can have before the deed is done? I don't know, Donovan. I don't know, man. Let's see. Kenyatta said a lot of men are not choosing not to be in their children's lives. A lot of the times it's because the relationship with the mom, dad are strained. They use the children as pawns. So let me let me ask this question. Shout out to my guy Herschel. I saw you hop on as well. What's going on, Herschel? You good, man? All right. Go ahead, man. Buddy. How you doing, man? All right, cool. So let me say this, because I think it's an interesting topic, right? Because every time this topic comes up, I'm gonna be honest. Majority of the time, it's the man's fault. Yeah, that's typically what I hear. It's the man's fault and it's the father's fault. He don't want to be in the children's lives. He's a deadbeat. He not trying to, he not a real daddy. He ain't a real man. What real man abandon his children? Like I hear, that's all I ever hear. But once again, just based on some of these comments that have come in, I don't hear the accountability on both sides. Like I don't hear that. I hear about, some fellas talking about, they have to fight to see their kids. They got to fight in court, this type of stuff. Like I hear that type of stuff, but once again, I never hear the accountability on both sides. We got some more comments coming in. Hold on a minute here. Let's see. Donovan said, let's see, folks don't embrace the red flags. Nah, they definitely don't. See, Kenyatta said, I work in this field. I hear these stories every day. Okay, so Kenyatta said she know all about it. Okay, appreciate that right there, Kenyatta. I'm gonna have to get with you on the side so I can understand some of this. Let's see. Shout out to the kid Middleton in the building. She said they're deadbeats because they fail to realize the importance of their presence. The man really chooses what the relationship will be, and when he leaves, the home is broken. Nakia, to this question, let me ask you this. Do the women understand and appreciate the presence of that man? So I feel what you're saying right here. He may not understand the importance, but at the same time, we got two people in there. Yep. Do the women understand or realize the importance of his presence, and do they support it outside of feelings? Because that's the piece I think that's playing in there. So drop a comment, let me know. Kenyatta said, nope, the fathers fight for their lives, trying to spend time with their children. Okay. I got that. Appreciate that comment. Let's see. Nakia said, well, the topic is not about the moms. It's why the men are called deadbeats. No, that's facts. And we not done yet. So hold tight. No, we ain't done yet.
Nah, for sure. We ain't done yet.
No, we ain't done yet. She about to get hot on me. We ain't done yet. Let's see. She also said, Mima always said, mama's babies, daddy's maybe. Somebody tell me something. I appreciate this comment right. Where does this stuff come from? Yeah, sometimes I wonder, do we realize like these types of things? I say, because me and Coco talk about this stuff all the time. We've got all these sayings that we carry on from generation to generation. Yep, this, mama's babies, daddy's maybe. Let me play devil's advocate. Like we got all these sayings that we carry from generation to generation. And sometimes I wonder, do we realize some of these things low key are conditioning the next generation?
Yeah, it's like we're speaking prophetically. Like I don't think, maybe some of us understand the power of our words. Maybe some of us don't. But if you have read the Bible, then the scripture, life and death is in the power of the tongue. And so when we speak things like this, and Nakia, I've heard it too. So like, this is not at you, Nakia. Like I've heard this myself, like many, many times. So it's a saying, it's out there, right? It's been out there. Do we understand when we speak these things, we're almost speaking them prophetically over ourselves, over our families. Like we're saying these things and then they manifest, right? Like not that I believe in manifestation, but I do believe in the power of your words and how it can kind of shape your mindset and influence you. And as long as this saying has been around, why they'll never heed it? It's like low-key a warning. Like it's low-key a little bit of a warning in there. And I just wonder why we don't heed the warning that's in there. It's a warning wrapped up. Even though I don't agree with us saying these things, it is a warning wrapped up in there. Why have we never been like, if that's true, then I should probably be mindful of being careful when I'm out here in these streets. Because if a man does get to decide whether or not he wants to be involved, whether or not it's his baby, even though it is, then I definitely wouldn't want to put myself in that position. Like I think for women, I think we as women to protect ourselves, right? Not to blame women, but more so of as women, we should be protecting ourselves in this way. If you feel that way and you agree with that statement, then why are we not being more protective over our
Right.
women? You know?
Yeah, no, that's real. So let me circle back. Because I said I do, you know, the title is Why Are Some Black Fathers Deadbeats? So like I said I do want to tackle that. Like I said, I know there's a lot of pieces, you know, listen, we got comments to back it up. I know there's a lot of pieces involved, but you know what I'm saying, I really want to hit this and understand what could be happening. So I'll put it like this. Was that Joe?
Yeah, I just said,
Oh, I got you. What's going on with you, Joe? You good, man?
Hey, how's it going? Good evening.
Going well. So I want to put it like this. I know we do have situations out here where, you know, some of the fathers out here definitely can be considered deadbeats. You know, we got situations where fathers do not want to take their responsibility for the kids. We got situations where fathers are, I don't even think some of the fathers out here even appreciate being a father. Yeah, just keeping it a buck. Yeah, but I don't think there's some fathers out here who actually just appreciate being a father. I know sometimes we got situations where, you know, the fathers are beefed out with the moms and they can't, for some reason, can't get on the same accord. Like I said, everything was good just a week ago, you know, when everybody was laying up doing what they was doing. You know what I'm saying? But now all of a sudden kids here, everybody beefed out all of a sudden, right? But yeah, I do think we got situations where guys don't even appreciate and understand the value of being a father, especially from the perspective of legacy. Yeah, I'm gonna go a step further, especially when you got sons involved. Yeah, so when you got sons involved who are literally carrying your last name, and you know, God willing, will be here after you gone to carry on the legacy of the family name. For you to not want to be responsible and be involved, you know, in a situation like that, that is going to literally affect your legacy as we know it. Yeah, that's wild to me. Yeah, but that's happening. Yep, that is happening. Listen, that's just my perspective. So I'm gonna stop right there for now. I'm gonna circle back to the panel. Joe, I see you off mute. Anybody want to say something? Come off mute. Say what you want to say.
Yeah, I'll rock for a second.
Go ahead, Joe.
I think it's 2 points. To answer the question directly, from my experience of what I've observed and a lot of friends and family, males who have gone through this, what makes them a deadbeat. So I don't think it's theory, pretty much fact at this point at this stage of my life from just constant observation. The first one is that it's what will make a deadbeat, number one, is a father who doesn't want to be, never want to be. In most cases, was the one advocating for a baby deletion. Didn't get what he wanted because the woman has the ultimate choice on whether or not she keeps the baby or not. The woman keeps the baby, then she expects the man who didn't want the child to then step up and be there for the child. But this would be the equivalent of a woman being forced to have a child that she doesn't want to have, but then she's completely tuned out. She didn't want the child to begin with. So her mannerisms, her actions and behaviors will follow that train of thought initially. I didn't want it, so, and you guys made me keep it. The baby's here, but you know, that doesn't mean I have to be the one to give that baby a high quality of life. Same thing with the father. So this is the father's version of baby deletion. It's abandonment. Secondly, it's the father who wants to be in the child's life, but isn't allowed to be due to the laws of the country that we live in, and the mother using and abusing those laws, weaponizing it against the father who wants to be a father. So those are the only two situations in which a father can be a deadbeat, unless someone else has a third or fourth. But these are the two most common ones. I would say that I've seen the second happen much more frequently than the first. maybe 70, 30%. And then at some point, the father says, screw it, I'm done. He checks out, having wanted to be father number two, and just tired of fighting, running out of money, don't have the means to pay for the lawyers and all this, getting the runaround to just be present in this child's life. The child becomes a certain age. The child has been now, I forgot, parentally alienated at this point. The child probably feels some type of way. It's a lost cause. So then he checks out, not necessarily because he wanted to. He's fought, but there's nowhere else he can go. His mother has gotten into his ear. That mother's family has gotten into his ear, that child's ear. There's nothing he can do. I'm just going to start a new family. I'm going to do things differently. I'm probably going to choose a different type of woman. You know, you messed up once before, and you learn once, you learn twice. Okay, I'm not going to make that same mistake again. So maybe that's the third scenario in which the father wanted to be there, but he can't be there, so he just moves on, and that gives off the perception of deadbeat. You know, if you're making him pay money out of pocket, that's not raising a child at all. When you speak to a lot of children, they don't care about the money, they don't care about the roof over their head. All these things, of course, are important, but it's this perception that a man's worth and value in terms of being a father, his sole role is just to be a provider. But if provider is only that he provides financially, but not emotionally, stability, discipline. These are things that I know for a fact my father taught me. You know, stick to itiveness, things that I would not have had if it was just left up to my mother. And I love my mom, but she had certain qualities that my father brought to the table that was much more stern and strict that I didn't like at the time, but has paid off handsomely, financially, in a lot of different ways. I've spoke about that before. Just learning how to type. Who the hell wants to do that? I mean, this is like in the 90s. The computers coming out. Oh yeah, your ass go sit down and learn how to type instead of playing outside. I want to go outside and play. No, you go sit down and learn. All right. So by 13 years old, you're typing 50, 60 words per minute. I don't know what this is going to do for me, but this is foresight. 10 years fast forward, I became a copywriter, making thousands of dollars because of a skill my father made me sit down and do from years before. My mother, she didn't let the boys go out and play. So,
Right.
but that was because my mother saw the value of having my father in the home. So those are my two theories based on observational facts. And maybe someone else has something else they can contribute to that. I don't know.
Okay, I appreciate that right there. So who just came off? Is that Hirsch? No, that's no B-Box. Go ahead, B-Box.
Yeah, so I think, well, what's up with the panel? What's up, Herschel? I just haven't seen you in a minute. And Vince came in like Thanos. So what's up, Vince? I believe one of the biggest problems that a lot of people, men and women, are having children out of lust and not out of love.
Oh, that's what I meant. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are they want to have sex or sorry, I don't know if I can use that word, but they want to have, they want to copulate. But then when the consequences of that come about, then they're all confused, all upset. So they weren't parent material in the first place. That's a big problem. And the kids suffer, right? So you have the dad, and men like peace. So if you're in that type of situation, there's going to be mess involved. Both of you aren't really compatible relationship wise. There's going to be problems that come about, and that relationship's invariably going to end, and the kids are going to suffer. I mean, it's just obvious. It just happens all the time. And I will say this too: a lot of guys who are deadbeat fathers usually have multiple children. So if they have multiple children, that means they're not going to have the time and the money to really be fathers the way that they need to be. So if you got one guy I know a guy, he has a kid in Delaware and a kid in Pennsylvania. He's in my home state, Maryland. And it's like a 3-hour difference, right? And he just doesn't have the time. And a lot of times he doesn't have the money either, right? The way he needs to be, that he needs to be there. So I will say this, men just need to be better with their seed, but ultimately women are they have the womb, and I think women need to be much more careful with who they have children with. I mean, it's crazy. And because unfortunately, it's just how biology works. So that's kind of how I view it. And also, women, if you believe that you want men in the homes, please make it peaceful. That's it. Just make it peaceful. Make it like a place where the man can feel safe and emotionally secure at least. And if the guy's a bad dude, then just FYI, just don't have sex with him. Just don't do that.
Okay. I'm gonna ask a question off of that in a minute. I just want to if anybody else want to say something. Herschel, I know you hadn't said nothing yet. JR, I see Vince hopped on as well. Y'all want to say something, come off mute and say what you want to say.
Yeah, I like to say that so far, well, good evening, everybody, first of all. So far, Joe and B-Boxers, their perspectives are very on point, in my opinion, about the reasons as why. It's like some reasons as why, because I was going to say there's a spectrum of reasons why some Black fathers, or I'll say fathers in general, are deadbeats. Another area, I'm gonna go in a different area outside of the whole situation of the relationships and all that and all the drama and everything. Usually most people they engage in things that they're connected with. So there's a lot of times there's just a disconnect. You know what I'm saying? And it goes back to some I think it was B-Boxer or was saying, or Joe, one of the two of you guys were saying they just never wanted to be a parent in the first place. So there's a disconnect, and that's just like a psychological thing where because anybody that's connected to something you pour into it, you put into it. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, for example, I'm a father, and I'm not with my son's mom, but I'm sorry, there's nobody or nothing on this earth that can remove me from being in my son's life. You know what I'm saying? So that's connection. I'm connected. I don't care how much of a drama. I mean, I actually went through a custody thing in court for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? And that's not going to stop me. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to stop me at all. But I mean, that was in the past. Now I just want to say, I'm not trying to, bash anybody. Me and my son's mom we're in wonderful terms right now. We get along. We've grown and matured, so we know how to do the co-parenting thing. And, but all I'm saying is sometimes it's just a disconnect, and it's like a psychological thing, something deeper with somebody's past. You know what I'm saying? It's like sometimes generational things where that man probably didn't have his father, and so he's not used to that. Or he, it's a number of things. So it's not really one thing we can pinpoint on. But the one thing that we can pinpoint on is just trying to just educate people, more to like you said earlier, you just can't be laying up with everybody. You have to protect yourself. You just got to be mature. There's a lot of people just being very just immature out here. And then we have that invincibility thing. We think that's not going to happen to us. And so it's just a lot of factors where, it's just a lot of carelessness, because it's like you're creating a whole life, and so it's nothing to play with. It's not like you're going to the pet store and you're getting a fish or a dog, you literally, it's an actual human life that you're going to be rearing up. And so that's what I'm like when I have clients, like the young males, per se, I kind of get them early to try to just put them in that mode and realize just make responsible decisions and set an example. And if you do have plans to be a father, there's a time and a place for it. Get your stuff in order first. And then if you don't really think about, you're not trying to have no kids, then don't play those adult games. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to happen to you no matter what. So I'll end with that and let somebody else, chime in.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. That's facts. So let me get some of these comments, man. Comments a little hot for some reason tonight. Let me read through these. Let's see. Kenyatta said, let's see. It was told to me that some men don't want to be fathers if they can't be with the mother. Huh. They say all or nothing. If he can't have the mom, then he doesn't want to be a father at all. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I can see that. Yeah, I'm sure some fellas do take that position. Yeah, I'm gonna come back to a question that I'm gonna have to pose just based on this right here. Let's see. The kid said, but it's up to the father to understand his value and be present outside of the money. No, I agree with that. I agree with that, but we still got to acknowledge that the woman plays a part in this statement right here. I feel where you're coming from, the kid, but we still got to acknowledge that the woman plays a part in this piece right here. Yeah, I know we're talking about the men tonight, but we got to keep it a buck. Yeah, we got to keep it a buck. See, Nakia also said men literally will not show up in the child's life because I'm assuming that's because of the mother of the child. When do these men mature? When will they see their value of being a father?
Can I add to that as a woman? Can
Go
I
ahead.
just, and this is not to Nakia, obviously, this is just about the topic in particular, right?
Right.
Because I don't know anybody's personal situation. But I'm trying to stay on the men because that's what this topic is about, right? Let's talk about the men, right? But I don't know how we don't at least acknowledge that there is a woman, mother, on the other side of this that does have influence in the situation, right?
Correct.
And we have to at least mention that as a mother, you have influence in the situation. And if you are not together with the father, then if you're the sole, guardian or parental, authority, then that man has to work through you to get that level of visibility and time with his kid. If it's coming with a lot of extra stuff, we can see why some men may be hesitant to deal with that, right? Like Hirsch just said, nothing is going to keep me from my son, which I applaud that. That I'm not saying that I think that's the right mindset. I agree with
Minority.
that. But unfortunately, that's not every man. Every man's not going to want to climb a mountain to get to his kids. Like he's going to feel like, okay, it's not that I don't want to be in said child's life, but if I have to deal with all of this other stuff every time I want to be in the child's life, I just rather not, because I don't want to deal with this drama. Like, I think that for any of us women who have dealt with men, we can understand that men just have a different way. They are not us. They are not us. They are not for the play. They're not for the back and forth. You got one good time to disrespect them in the wrong way. You got one good time. They're gonna give you one good time. And then they're probably going to be like, okay, I'm going to put you in this particular category. That's the category I put you in. So I'm pretty much done with you. Yeah. I know we have a child. I'm still in my child's life. I still want to be a part of my child's life. But if you have to stand in the middle, that's going to present a problem for me because I'm done with you. And I wonder if that is the struggle for men, some men, not all, because we're not going to give all men a pass, right? But I wonder if that's the struggle at times for some men who would want to be in a child's life, but there's a mother in the middle that is kind of making it challenging or difficult. And some men just don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's real. I don't doubt that at all. I'm sure that that's going on out here. Let's see. Donovan said, some of these deadbeat mamas create deadbeat daddies when they refer to the baby as theirs and not ours. Huh. Okay. Well, yeah, I've heard that before as well. So that's valid. I've heard that. Let's see. Shout out to Iceman69 holding it down for YouTube. He said most black children are not born out of love and want. They're born out of lust and hate, and the children know it. It is sad. Yeah, no, I once again, I'm sure that's going on as well, Iceman. Yeah, it's like sometimes I wonder, saying we've kind of touched on this before, but And Vince has brought this up as well. He's on the panel, but he's talked about the fact that, folks are creating kids. It's like, how many of them wanted the kids? Like, how many of them wanted to come together, go through the process and create the kid out of love? So yeah, to this comment, yeah, there's a lot of kids being created out here, and it was not out of love. So we've got to be honest about that. Let's see. Kenyatta said, let's see, that gets on my last nerve. That's my child. No, ma'am. That child is both of yous. She ain't say use, did she? I understand. Let's see. The kid said, let's see, women make it peaceful. Somehow you put the ball back in our court. Oh, okay. I think that was for beatboxer.
Yeah. Can I intersect real quick?
Go ahead, man.
Because I saw that. So I know this is about men, as Coco said too, but let me say this. I think we play games here because women think like we're stupid, like we're Neanderthals, like we don't know what's going on, like we're NPCs. If you don't make something peaceful, like we know that in these situations, there's a lot of chaos. So, and usually it's from the women. Let's be honest, when women have sex with guys and have their children out of the lusting part, they're trying to parlay it into a relationship, and it's not going to happen. So when that doesn't happen, there's chaos. And usually it comes from the woman. You don't usually see men slashing tires, burning up clothes, going to women's jobs. Like, let's just be honest about that. When you hear about all that stuff, is usually a woman calling you 50, 60, 70 times a day, going to the families' homes. That's what I'm talking about. So let's not play games and pretend that women in these situations are generally angels and nice and are like, oh, you can come over and see the children anytime you want. No, that's not what happens. So let's just be honest.
That's real, man. That's real. Let's see, the kid, I said she gave a fist pump to Herschel. Okay. So I think that was to Herschel saying that basically ain't no way he missing out. He gonna be involved. So no, that's it. Shout out to that. Yeah, that's definitely commendable. Well, I said, of course, I hope more men would take that position. Shout out to I Am Twine 2 in the building. He says some men are irresponsible. That is one reason. No, that's facts. Yeah, we do got some irresponsible men out here. And that's just what they own. So no, that's facts. Appreciate that comment. Cindy Key also said, yes, the women's be bitter. Okay, so she says some of the ladies be bitter out here. Cindy Key also said he climbed that mountain too.
That's the easy part, sis. That's the easy part.
Oh, I guess.
That's the easy part. That's easy. Okay, but let's just keep it like this. But were you acting like that when it was time to get scratched? Were you acting like that when it was time to get the itch scratched? Was all the attitude there? Not you, because I don't know you like that. I'm talking about the women that we're talking about that are acting like this. Was she acting like that when it was time to get that itch scratched? Because I guarantee you her attitude was different. That's the problem.
All right, man. Let me keep going. Let's see. I Am Twine 2 says some men do not want to deal with the mothers who give too many obstacles to interact with the child. I need the ladies drop a comment because this is a consistent piece of information I continue to hear. A lady that is willing to be honest about this. Why would you be giving the father of your child obstacles as he's trying to interact with the child? Yeah, but if you say that you want this man to be involved, if you say that you want this man to be a father and understand his responsibility and the importance of being a father, why would you be giving a man who is the other half of this child, why would you be giving him obstacles if he's saying he wants to be involved with this child? So I need somebody drop a comment, let me know what that's really about. Is that some control stuff? Is that you wanting to control the flow on how things go? Is that you wanting to manipulate his interaction with the kids so you can control how much exposure the father got? Like, where is that really coming from? Yeah, because that's some interesting stuff right there. Why would you be restricting or putting obstacles in the way of the person who is the other half of that kid, why would you be putting obstacles in the way of them interacting and having a time and exposure and influence on that kid? That's crazy right there. Let me keep going. So drop a comment. Somebody who keep willing to keep it a buck, drop a comment. Let me know. See, Nakia also said, let's see. Hold that drop there, JR, and I'm gonna come back to you. Nakia also said, why aren't more men taking the babies and being custodial parents versus the mom?
Are women allowing that?
I can answer this one, but
do women allow that? Like, do women actually allow men to be custodial parents? Like, y'all are doing that?
The law doesn't.
I'm just over here like, that's a real thing. Is that an option? Because all I hear is, and I have men in my family, and I can speak on this, I literally have men in my family have gone through this. Like, y'all do that? Y'all just like give y'all kids up and let the dads be dads?
Let me ask this question.
They'll get a baby deletion before they give the child up to the father of the child. They'll do that before they actually, you know.
I think it's a great idea. I just didn't know women were that willing to do it.
I'd rather the father have not the child than to bring the child to life and give the child to the father. That's the route that a lot of women take for a number of reasons I won't go into, but that's it.
Yeah, let me ask this question, and I'm gonna come back because I saw the panel. I saw y'all was ready to respond to that. So to this question, question to you, Nakia, let's say, because I don't have the information. I want to understand this point right here. Do you think that most of these moms want the father to have custody of the children, or do they want him to have custody of the children after they tired? No. This is the honest question. Because in the initial stages, I don't see that many women that want the father to have custody. Yeah, because typically, you know what I'm saying, there's a decent amount of women out here who look at having the kids as a level of power and control. So they don't typically want to give the kids up or give up the custody. So they will take the kids. But then later on, I've seen situations where some ladies will say, okay, yeah, now I want to live my life. I want to get outside. So now they want to pass the kids on to the father. So I'm just curious, is it more of that's really what they want from the beginning? Or is that what they want on their terms? Yeah, but that's the question I would have to this, because like I said, I've seen examples of this going on out here. So yeah, let me know what you say on that, Nakia. All right, let me come back to the panel real quick, then I'll get back in these comments. Vince, I saw you hop off. I know JR was trying to say something. Either one, go ahead.
Now, first, that's a deflection that Nakia is talking about. There's absolutely no way a mother's going to give her child up to the father. First of all, she's carried that child for 9 months. She's bonded with that child. First of all. So that's just one of those things of, well, you know, a deflection. Most women will not give that child. Now, they'll give the teenage son who she can't control any longer to the father. Come get your son, but then it's too late.
Yeah,
right.
If you're gonna give him to him at about 4 or 5 after he off the titty, because then he really don't need you no more. Not to be raised. Now, back to the question. Why are some black men deadbeats? I think because they make a choice to be a deadbeat. And then I also think that they should be husbands before they are fathers. Because our culture has decided that marriage is no longer needed, a requirement, and that fathers in the home is no longer a requirement. It's not a requirement. I get into it all the time. Well, it's got to be a happy relationship. It can't be toxic. It can't be this. It can't be that. But then we also have to understand women want to think like women in the situation and don't listen to the men. And the reason why I'm saying that is that when a man marries a woman, there's a responsibility that he takes for that woman. Legally, spiritually, and in the eyes of God. If you are married to a woman, you don't have to go to court. That's your baby. You don't have to tell the court, I'm taking my baby to Atlanta for 5 months. If you're a child's father without marriage, you have no rights until they are established in court. And I didn't even know that. I told you, I was looking to sign the birth certificate for my current kids, and the nurse had to tell me, you their father. Well, you're married to their mother. You don't have to sign the birth certificate. That's how ignorant we have become in our culture. And I think that's part of the problem. We are just having sex. We're not trying to make kids. We're not trying to make families. And like I told you before, most of the men that I know that were husbands are usually less likely to be deadbeats. Because at some point in that relationship, he took on the responsibility of that woman and he really loved her. And if a man loves that woman, he's gonna love that child. That's just my opinion. That's what I've seen. You know, these guys walk around with 3, 4, 5 baby mamas. He didn't marry none of them women. Not a one. So I think that our culture is just so far removed from how things are really supposed to work. Because then they'll say, well, you know, I know plenty of people who are unhappy in their marriage. I know men, but let's look at the statistics and the overall general, you know, all of it together. So I think, you know, being a deadbeat, I think and I have to admit, I didn't know my value either. I really didn't know my value until I did it differently the second time around. I thought, you know, I'm the weekend dad. I'm the fun dad. I talk to him on the phone. He know where his daddy at. She know where her daddy at. They can call me anytime they want to. Anything they ask me for, I give it to them. But it's not enough. And you don't really realize until your kids get grown. And then we know it. But most people not going to admit that. Most people not going to admit, you know what? It just wasn't enough. I should have really just tried to make it work with that other parent if it was possible. They're not going to admit that. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to admit they raised a soft ass son. They're not going to admit it. Nigga, you can't keep a job. You know, they're not going to admit, you know. And then a lot of these fathers I see they parent out of guilt. You know, because their relationship is already toxic with the child, then it's, you know, they really can't say anything to the child. They really can't really put anything into the child. So until we really change our culture, you know, like I've been saying all along, I don't see anything because there really is no value for husbands and fathers. They really, you know, everybody, I don't need no man. I don't need no, they going to getting test tube babies and not even thinking about this child is not going to have a father. Oh, I can be the mother and the father. Oh, okay. Let's see how that turned out for you.
You ain't lying about that. I done heard that as well. I definitely heard that. Jared, you want to get something off real quick, man, before I get back in these comments? I know you want to say so. Go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, yeah, some very good, you know, perspectives there from everyone, and yeah, of course, you know, we've all probably got experiences from both sets, you know, men and female. You know, men probably going through it, and women, you know, doing, you know, the negative stuff towards the man, and the other way around where the man's doing negative stuff towards the woman, and you know, she's not doing anything negative. She wants him to see the kids and whatnot, you know. So it does happen. But in terms of like, you know, men being deadbeats and whatnot, yeah, it is true that there is men out there that are deadbeats, you know. But the sad reality is that majority of these women that have kids with these so-called deadbeat men knew that these men were deadbeats from the get-go. Majority of them. That's just the reality. But Mr. Vince said, for the guys that, you know, wanted to keep it real, they're gonna keep it real, even if the situation don't last between, you know, them and the mum, because he said that, you know, they was married. Now, not to say that men that were married, you know, don't stop looking after their kids. There's some that do that as well. But like I said, most of these women know that these men are deadbeats, and we know that most men don't have kids, right? And we know that majority of women have kids. So we know that it's only a few men, not a few, but you know, it's less men that are deadbeats compared to the majority. So for the women that have kids, I'll probably say majority of them are deadbeats, you know, because how do we decipher this? The man is a deadbeat by not being available, rightly so. The man is a deadbeat for just sending money, you know, because emotionally and whatnot, he's not there. So we agree, the man's a deadbeat. Now, when this so-called son or daughter makes it in life, it's round of applause for the mum because she's one that was there. Yet somehow, when the son or the daughter fails, it's back on the dad. How do you work that out? Because in both scenarios, the dad wasn't there. But he's a deadbeat in both of them. But on both of the mum, where she achieves, the dad doesn't get no round of applause. But when they fail, it's back on the dad. Can somebody please make sense of that for me?
It's the tingle, JR. It's the tingle.
He makes a great point. I forgot about that point. He's
So,
right. They get the credit when it works out. You know, oh, my son made it to the NBA. That's my baby. That's my baby. But if he ends up in jail or prison penitentiary, oh,
where
father
was the
just
dad?
wasn't there. What was the father?
Yeah.
I haven't even thought about that. Yeah, he doesn't. He just can't win. But this is not about that, right? It's supposed to be why are some black fathers deadbeats? They go light you up. You probably had to curb the whole balance perspective thing and keep it focused on black man being deadbeat father, which that's the topic. And I'll stick with Vince's answer. He said because it's a choice. And there's a number of different choices that men make, reasons why they choose. I don't want to be in that child's life. I think principally it's because of lust. The child is born conceived out of lust. Then he was only in it to climb the mountaintop. But he didn't plan on coming back down from that mountaintop anytime soon. Coming down the hills and the trolls and the valleys and dealing with having to raise a child. No, I just wanted to climb there and achieve the, yes, I made it, the orgasm. And oh, I got to come down off of this. Nah, I'll just leave. That's the truth.
I'm just going off the kid's comment, right? About having no pity for no man. Rightly so. And here's the reality, right? The fact that the situation is like this in 2025, have grace for these women. Unfortunately, it's F these women and F these kids. That's just a sad reality. Because Mr. Press, I always say, right? Society has made it easy for men not to have to be men. Thanks to the women for stepping in between the men and the system. But we telling them, get out of the way so we can go and correct this. But no. It was fist bumps to Mr. Hirsch, you know? You go and fight for your kid. You better jump through obstacles. But what was the response to Beatboxer or whoever it was? It wasn't so nice, was it? You know? Because a man has to keep fighting in this life every day. And especially for your kid. How sad is that? That a man has to fight. And hey, it's even easier the fact that they say that the kid is theirs, right? So once again, it's F you and F them kids too, right? Because the kid is yours.
Hey, JR,
So why am I
you can't
gonna
possibly
fight?
love those kids if you didn't fight for them, if you didn't fight hard and sweat blood and cut yourself to get and climb over barbed wire fences to get there.
Yeah.
You don't love those kids, do you really?
You damn right I don't. I love me. Because I ain't cutting myself through no barbed wires or nothing like that. And I tell my girl that, I'm like, listen, if you ever think about, if we have kids, you ever think about taking my kids away from me or whatever it is, get gone. I ain't fighting you. Because I ain't here in this universe to fight no woman. That's it.
And then I also think that just like with Nakia's point, and I hate to put her on blast, but that's the problem. Because we're not holding women accountable. And we're not holding some men accountable. But see, the difference is the world holds men accountable. I've been in those courtrooms, and I didn't get no pity. I didn't get no pity. Judge told me one time. Now, I was working out on 15 Mile in Van Dyke at a night job, and I was just a couple $1,000s behind in child support. She gonna come tell me, why don't I catch the bus out there at 11 o'clock at night on 15 Mile in Van Dyke? How I'm gonna get to 15 Mile in Van Dyke on time in the 90s on a bus? So men understand we don't get no grace. And until women decide, you know what, we're gonna have to stop giving these ladies grace, because like I don't have grace for men that complain about child support. I don't. You knew that you wasn't married to that woman when you had that child. You knew the relationship was bad. You knew that, you probably got, so stop complaining. You put yourself in that situation, pay your child support and be quiet. Oh, well, man, I got to pay child support. Well, you put yourself in that situation, bro. Shut up, get you another job and pay it. Because that's what life teaches men. But women, we got to give her grace. She done had 5 kids with 4 different men, but it ain't her fault. The men tricked her. 4 times? 3 times? Men tricked her 3 times?
Vince,
4,
where's that
5?
women's intuition? What's that women's intuition, Vince?
Don't do
What's
that.
Women had intuition.
Not too much.
So I just think we got to be fair across the board. But I understand that because most of our women are baby mamas and most of our men are baby daddies. So if everybody in your situation, if all the men complaining about child support, then you can say, I'm going to complain about child support too. If all the women ain't wives and baby mamas and picked horrible fathers, because I really, what I really think though? I think people don't even think, when people having sex, they're not even thinking about this could be the father of my child. I don't even think they're thinking about that. I really don't. I just think they just want that nut. They want that nut and whatever come with it. A lot of women, they feel like, I had a couple abortions. I don't want no more abortions. I'm 34, 35. I might not have another child. I might not get the chance to have another kid. So I'm going to have this one.
Hold on, man.
But they're not ready for that conversation. They are not ready for that. I'm sorry, Clay, but they not ready for that, Vince. They're not ready for that conversation of when a woman chooses you. Like, let's just be for real for just a second, right? I'm sorry, y'all, but women are choosing. They are literally getting to say, nah, not that one. Nah, not that one. Now this one over here, though, this the one. This the one. They're choosing, right? We've actually had someone say this on the show before, that they literally was like, look, was getting to the point where, clock was ticking and opportunity presented itself and I took advantage of the opportunity. And I appreciate the transparency. I appreciate the accountability, but just know when those types of situations happen, you kind of set yourself up. At this point now, there's nothing else you can say. Like, you can't say, oh, woe is me now, because you intentionally allowed yourself to be put in this situation. And I think that we have to we have to be honest. Like, we're trying to have this conversation about men being deadbeats. And I want to stay on this topic. And I know we have another video that I hope Quay will play. But it's hard to have this conversation without talking about what it feels like for a man. And I don't think that we allow space without judgment for men to say, this sucks, right? Like women get on the internet, they get on Donald J. Trump internet every day, and they talk about how it sucks to be in this situation. And listen, I'm not telling y'all not to air your grievances, okay? I'm not talking about that. But at the same time, we have to open up space for men to talk about theirs too. Like I don't disagree with Nakia. I get her feelings, right? We're supposed to be talking about men. Unfortunately, though, when we start to talk about men, men's feelings get invalidated really quickly. When a man starts to talk about how he feels in a scenario, his feelings become invalid almost immediately. If a man says, it's been really difficult for me as a man to be in my child's life because I'm going through all of these situations with the mom, and this is a struggle and this is a challenge, immediately a woman will say, you just got to do what you got to do. That's why it's so easy for us to fist bump Hirsch. Not that we shouldn't. I'm not saying he don't deserve his fist bump. I'm just simply saying we're going to champion him because he's saying I'm standing 10 toes down and I'm going to do what I got to do, which he should be championed. But what about the man that's saying, this is really hard for me. I'm going through a lot in this process and I'm tired. I don't want to do it no more. What about that man? Is his feelings not valid too? Can he not express how hard that is for him and that he's tired of fighting? So now he's a bad person because he doesn't want to fight to see his kid, which y'all saying is his kid. He need to be his kid. Come get your kid. Okay, so then why does he have to fight though? And then when he says this is hard for me too, then we go, well, you didn't do enough. You're not doing what you need to do. Right? Like we can't invalidate men's feelings and then say, get off the women, get off the women, get off the women. We can't do that. Like this is a space for us to talk about why men are deadbeats. But then if a man starts saying, hey, this is some of the reasons why we get this title, we have to be able to receive that feedback, ladies. We got to receive it. We can't put the hand up and go, yeah, but we can't do that. We actually got to receive the feedback because that's the problem. We don't know how men feel on the other side of this. And let's be honest, ladies, y'all don't care. Y'all don't care how men feel on the other side of this. Y'all don't care. So you want me to stay on the topic? I'll try my best. But if a man says part of the reason why I'm a deadbeat is because she won't let me see the kids. Okay, well, now we got to talk about why you won't let them see the kids, sis. What you want us to do? So, like, we got to be honest about this situation. There are some straight up some straight up ratchets out here. They're not going to be in their child's life because they're just not going to be in their child's life. That's just period, point blank. But then there are some men that do want to be more involved with their children's lives, and they are meeting resistance. And so we actually have to be real about that.
Yeah, no, that's real right there. Let me get this comment. A lot of comments came in. Listen to Kia over here validating my point. So she said, firstly, her sister is tired. She said, been an independent mom going on 13 years now. So initially, no, I wasn't giving the child to the father, but now that they off the tit, I'm open to pass more responsibility to the fathers. This is what I was saying earlier.
Open to it. What?
Yeah, this is what I was saying earlier. I don't think that this is gonna work like that. Yeah, I honestly don't, because see, this is the woman trying to do something on her terms. Yeah, but that's gonna be the issue. But this is the point I was making earlier. So I appreciate you saying that, this is the thing, because this is the point I was making earlier. Yeah, but I just don't think that this is gonna successfully work in a relationship. Like Vince said, you know what I'm saying? We waiting this time. We got the situation, we waiting this time, and then it's like, okay, after we hit this certain point, now it's like, here you go. You take them. I'm ready to go live my life. And it's like, I just don't think it worked like that.
And then want the father to clean up what mistakes she might have made with that son. If it was a son at 13, he's going to have a complex. So now he has to actually fix a lot of the errors that she made just trying to be mother and father, but she couldn't be. But it took her 13 years to figure it out. So now you clean it up. It's like it's like you're handing off. I'm trying not to say it, but it almost feels like you're handing off like it's trash. Oh, I did. Yeah, I can't. You put it in the dustpan. I can't find a garbage can here. Just take it. You figure out what to do with it, and that's not right. That's not how you raise children. Now, I'm calling her out in a way, but she put herself out there. But it actually proves JR's point. Whole time. You do it, you want the father to be involved in the life when it's convenient for you, and when you feel like you can't handle what comes with that teenage years, especially when it comes to a son and testosterone and puberty. It's intense. But it took you 13 years to figure that out. Now, I see that a lot amongst my friends and family. And it's so sad. That's the issue. You ask the question, why did dad be dead? So he was right. Okay. Then you get mad when it circles back somehow to you. Why does it have to be about because the mother won't let him? But that's the reason. It's not the only reason, but it is a big one. And I've seen that being that biggest reason, like majority.
Yeah. Yeah, no, listen, that's, you know what I'm saying, just to, like I said, to lay the foundation. Like I said, once again, you know, so I appreciate the comment, the kid. Like I said, it's not to come at you, but I know that situation goes on. You know what I'm saying? And to a certain extent, I can, you know what I'm saying, I can somewhat understand the mindset behind it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you feel like you done put in the work. It's like, all right, now it's on you to, you know what I'm saying, take it from here. But I don't think that works. Yeah, because whatever's, you know what I'm saying, whatever the situation is, it's in place at this point. So it's like I don't think a mother can just flip the kid. I'm like, I don't think that's gonna work like that. I don't think it's gonna be successful as we think it's gonna be. But that's just my opinion. But I'll leave it like that. All right, let me go to video number 2 because we got a couple videos now. Let me hear video number 2.
Some fathers seem to not care about their kid. You ever wonder why some fathers seem to not care about their kid? Just in general, like, they don't need to see them too often, don't need to make phone calls to them, just don't seem to care. Well, a lot of people think that when a child is born, all of a sudden some small piece of your heart is with them, and from that moment on, you guys are attached, and if that bond is there, then it's there, and if it's not, then it's not. That's not how it really works. Mainly for the father. But if you have been around that child when that child was first born, you got to build that rapport, build that bond and everything, that bond is going to be strong. But if you happen to have a bad baby mama or wife or whatever, and she keeps that child away from you, let you see him this week, don't let you see him next week, go a month without seeing him, you ain't did this here, so you can't get in contact with the child, they're not going to build that bond. And if you're like me, I'm a person who, if you take something away from me and try to keep it away from me as punishment, I push that item away from me so I don't want it anymore. That way you can't hurt me with that item. And it's sad to say that's how it is with a child, but that's pretty much how it is. So when you got this man who is hurt by this item, he's going to slowly step away from that item. And that item being a child, you hurting that child, at the same time you're hurting that man. So let's be better people, okay? That's it.
Okay, go ahead, Coco.
The reason why I was really pushing to play that video, the reason why I was really, really pushing to play it is because I feel like this is a side of this conversation that we just don't make space for. I feel like we just don't make space for men to say, it hurts me too. Like, I'm not just not in my child's life because I'm just a horrible man and I don't want to be around my child. Like, it hurts me too. When you say, I can see my child, I'm just going to go with this because we're talking about it. When you say I can see my child and you tell me to come at a certain time and I come, and then you don't bring the child outside, you don't let him come outside, you don't let her come outside. And you tell me you ended up making plans. And so I can't get him today. I've had men say that they've flown to another state because a planned date and time was set, and they flew to the other state, and the mother decided, nope, I'm not gonna let him go with you. And it's like, okay. I have seen grown men come on the internet, and you can tell that they are upset when they, when they are trying to see their kids, and they're like, I haven't seen my daughter in months. Like this, we have to talk about this, guys. Like we have to be honest. Like if we want to understand how a man, gets to this point, then we have to hear them when they say, this is not fun for me. I don't want to argue back and forth with a woman. Like they don't want to argue back and forth with us in relationships about relationship things. Why would they want to argue back and forth with a woman about their child? Like they're not us, ladies. They're not going to do it. They're not, right? Like this is not something that they want to have to do. I'm not saying that some men don't fight. I applaud the men who fight and fight hard and fight long and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and whatever, lawyers and everything else. But not every man, one, has the resources, and not every man just has the capacity to do it, right? So like men are saying, this hurts me. Like that was the key right there when he said, if I feel like, you're using my child as like a bargaining chip to punish me, I'm going to distance myself from that thing, which is now a child, so you can't hurt me with it. And y'all are really going to sit up here and tell me as women, y'all don't know that hurts the man. Y'all gonna really sit up here and tell me that y'all don't understand that hurts him when he has a child that he wants to be around and he wants to be in their lives? Like y'all gonna really tell me that y'all don't know that that's not the whole reason why you're doing it? Like we have to be honest and it's so hard to have this conversation without talking about the women, because not all men, but a lot of women are a big part of the reason why men are not in their kids' lives. I said it.
Never heard that.
A lot of it's the women. They're the reason why these men are not in their child's life. Like I need y'all to sit in that and understand that this is what men are saying over and over and over again. Now we know that there are some deadbeats that are just going to be deadbeats anyway. So we're not talking about them. But these men are saying, I am not in my child's life because she's doing this, she's doing that, she's doing this, she's doing that. How are we supposed to leave that out of it if they're telling us this is the reason why? Right? Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know at what point do we, I think to get off the seesaw, like, Nakia mentioned, I think to get off that seesaw, there's a level of accountability that has to be had on both sides. Like the man has to take his part of the accountability and saying that he could have did things differently, made some different decisions. And then a woman has to take accountability and saying that this did not go the way I thought it was going to go. And the way I handled it after that point could have been better. I didn't conduct myself or handle the situation in the best way possible. And now here's the crappy results. It's ghetto. And now how do we fix the ghetto? It's ghetto. And I don't want to be ghetto.
Right.
No, I think that's what you have to do. You have to do it. And I don't see that happening.
So let me B-Box, you want to say something real quick, man?
Yeah, look, can I jump in real quick?
Go ahead, man.
Because Nakia says, God bless her. I want to address this.
I'm a whole woman. I'm a whole woman. I take no delight in bashing women. I'm a whole woman. I speak to women though because I am a woman, and I guess I kind of felt like because I am a woman that maybe women would at least try to hear me out because I am a woman and I'm about self-improvement and I guess in personal development because I'm self-improving and personally developing myself. So
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of where I'm coming from. I'm sorry, B-Boxer.
You're good.
I don't really know what to do with that
I got.
because
Let me
Hey,
let him
let me
let him get it. I know the
let me-
comment he's talking about. Let me put the comment up. Go ahead, man.
Because I think she said something
Bebop.
even before that, saying like, that's why I'm spiced with beatboxer. Listen, let me make this clear.
That was a little ways back. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you know, JR says this a couple times. He said this a couple times when we were going to have this conversation. Right? Y'all know that saying JR says. I think Nakia really embodies this as an issue, right? That, and I'm assuming Nakia, you got a couple kids too. I'm assuming that just by the way you're commenting, and you're probably with either one man or a couple. I just assume, but this is why I also say I'm going to put this what JR statement is and what I usually say too. It's kind of over because how are we as a group going to have any sort of cohesiveness, any sort of like coming together, anything of the sort when you have one side who has most of the children and they think they're doing nothing wrong and there's no accountability. And on the other side, even the men who are deadbeats, they have to take some sort of accountability. They have to take some sort of, at least they go to jail, right? There's things that happen to them. So we are at kind of a precipice and it's one side just doesn't want to play ball. I think it's just over. And I think Nakia is just one of the many of examples that we see in our community that when you say something about women, it's bashing. Nobody's bashing nobody. We're just saying what it is. And if you don't like what it is, I don't know what to tell you. I'm kind of at a loss when I see stuff like that because I'm like, listen, there's going to be some black men out here like me and Joe who won't date y'all. So is that what y'all want? Do you not want black men to even care? Do you want black men to be like, hey, screw the community, we're not going to do anything? There are black men like that out there too who will not do anything. They will say, the community there wasn't my problem. I didn't do anything, so I don't want to take care of it. This is an issue. So yeah, black men as being deadbeats, that's an issue. But it's the minority of men too. That I think JR mentioned that. Like, it's a small group of dudes running around causing chaos. And it's a majority of women who like these guys. For whatever reason, these guys make y'all tingle. I don't know why that is, but they do. They make y'all tingle. Y'all like these guys. You have their children. I don't know what to tell you. So there are going to be men like me. I'm not going to debate back and forth about the issue. You're either going to do what I'm saying, or you're going to do what it is, or we ain't talking. And then like I said, there's going to be some men out here who are going to be like, I want the world to burn. Again, not that guy. I'm not that guy. But there are a lot of black men who you're hearing lately out here, especially in the internet street, saying, let's let the community burn, see what happens. And I get it. I get why they're there. I get it. Because, like, it's over. That's how they feel. I don't feel that way because that means young children and innocent people are going to get hurt by that. But I don't know, man. It's unfortunate. I don't know. I think Jerry wants to speak because
Quay, can I jump in right quick? Just right quick.
Go ahead. Then I'm gonna let JR come after you. Go ahead, man.
As a 52-year-old man, I am getting so sick of this. When somebody tells somebody the truth, it's bashing. Now, mind you, I was a father at 17 and 22. And if somebody comes up to me and say, you know what, you were absolutely fucking crazy. You had no business having a child at 17 and 22. That's the truth. I have to sit with it. And you know why? Because I see the results. What are our results? Our kids are failing. Our kids are on drugs. They can't cope with life. They got daddy issues. They got mom issues. The men want to be women. The women want to be men. They don't want to get married. They don't want to have a family. They don't want to live holy. They don't want to live right. They just want to do what they want to do. What are our results as a culture? We need to be bashed. That's why I think the old church need to come back. We need some fire and brimstone in these churches. They tell you, stop coming up in here pregnant. Stop coming up here with your pants hanging down over your booty, young man. Pull your pants up. I'm sir. I'm not my first name. I'm sir to you, young man. Hold that door open for your mother. Hold that door open for the mothers of the church. Ladies, don't come in here with your cleavage showing. Have some respect. That's what we need. Because that's when we had a community. Come on. We sit up here talking about DEI. We ain't need DEI because we had our own businesses. We had our own banks. We had our own schools. We ain't need nobody to please give us a little something. So put your feelings to the side and take this medicine. Because I had to take it. And that's why I'm so passionate, because most people don't get a real do-over. Most people, they got one chance to get it. If they don't get it, then you just don't get it. I got a whole nother shot at 45. And it saddens me every day. It really does. That's why I'm so passionate. To really be with my kids every day, every single day. My daughter will never have to worry about another man providing for her, except her husband. She ain't got to worry about no boyfriend. She ain't got no mama's boyfriend that don't like her, that want her to get out the house, that's trying to touch on her. She ain't never got to go nowhere because mama, at 18, well, mama got to live her life. No, baby, you can stay here as long as you need until you get a husband. And we can do that. We really can. Because that's what works. So, I had to get my feelings off the table. Because, yeah, I felt that I was a decent father, but it wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. So my thing is, what we going to do different? That's it.
Yeah, no, that's real. Let me come to JR. Go ahead, JR. And then I'm going to come to Coco, and then I'm going to come back to the comments.
Yeah, just going off what Beatboxer said, and then, what Mr. Vin just said as well, in terms of, obviously, his daughter and whatnot, making sure you're there, doing it the right way. And like the sad thing is, is that the reason why, we're saying that it's over, etc., 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 is because, like Beatboxer said, he doesn't want to, let kids catch, strays, because it's not their fault, Now, the problem that men are having, is that, like we keep saying, the mess that is going on. Of course, yes, both parties partake in it, right? It's not to say that men don't. Yes, we do. But what we're saying is that in terms of the situation going to the extreme, it's minority of the men and majority of the women. And what we've been asked to do, so what's being said is that majority of the men have to clean up the mess for majority of the women. And that's not fair. And why that's not fair is because we don't mind doing that, right? Because we understand duty. Like Beatboxer said, kids shouldn't catch strays. But the problem is that these women are so disrespectful, right? To the point where they just don't care about saving the community. So there's an extra layer there. Once again, the in between, of what needs to happen. So how can men keep sitting there and try and fix the situation when the other party just do not want to listen? Because it's called bashing. They don't want to hear the truth. We've been hearing the truth forever and ever and ever since I've been alive. And as much as the young men are going the other way, right? It's because we've tried and tried and tried. Yes, like I said, we've played in a mess too, but we are trying to correct the mess. You know, I've got homeboy, he's got 2 baby mums. You know, messy situation. And when we just talk and whatnot, you know, and it's like, not that I can see, not pain, not disappointment, because of course you got 2 beautiful daughters, right? But it's more the disappointment of his own chaos. Does that make sense? So like Mr. Vince said, you can't feel sorry for them. So as men, we understand what comes with the mess that you partake in. We understand this. And he's trying to correct the situation. Of course, he's moved on, different relationship or whatnot. But now there's a mental block there, because if I have a kid with this woman now that's 3 baby moms potentially, if this one don't last. Now, my situation is, I mean, my 2 daughters' lives, because it works for this situation. But how about the 3rd one if it comes? You know, so we understand. So that's what we keep saying. If the men look in their circles, most of our friends are baby dads, because most men in our circles ain't got kids. Cool, we might not be married, but we ain't got kids. But guarantee if you look to your left or to your right, the women in your family, baby mums, your cousins, baby mums, all of that stuff. And that's just the reality. And like I said, we've been asked to fix the situation, and they just don't want to play ball. So how do we get around this? You know, because it's not to excuse men being deadbeats. But like I said, there's one thing about me wanting to be there and do what I want to do. But I don't want to be there when you are just a nasty piece of work. And that's what these women are today. And that's just the truth. You know, they're just not good people to be around in 2025. Now, you might say that's bashing, but unfortunately, hey, I might be called sassy, you know, go the other way, because why don't you love women? No, we love women. That's why we're trying to fix the situation. We understand that you're being played, hence why it's us battling. We're telling you, hey, just move out the way, let's go and correct this. That's all we're saying. And it's not going to be no tit for tat.
Well,
Okay.
JR,
Appreciate
you
that
could
right
put the
there.
work in. You could put the work in and try to fix the situation, because it's in our nature to fix things. That's what, man, we do just instinctively. Or we could just simply, as beatboxer said, you know, there's just a certain number of us men who just simply don't deal with it at all. We don't even know that they exist in certain ways. They're there, we see them, but we don't acknowledge, we don't give them time of day. So, or we could do what a lot of men are trying to do, and they're trying to fix the problem, and then they get caught up in the problem, and they become a part of the problem. Then they get mad because now they're in the problem. Or you just elevate yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like Chloe said earlier, you know, life is in the, you know, life and death is in the tongue. So, but we have to elevate ourselves mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And first, that starts with just controlling our own libido. You know, you do that, and then you attract the type of women that we want, that don't have these type of issues that we speak about, that a lot of community focuses on, because a lot of men, that's where they're trapped at. They're trapped in that kind of low vibrational area with the woman that they don't want, but they can't attract anything greater because they're not greater themselves. They're not in a position where they can attract the type of woman who's marriageable type, who wants to be a good mother, and who is looking for a husband. So it's kind of like they're stuck in a hamster wheel. They're just chasing after their own tail, and they can never really catch up. They exhaust themselves in trying to do so. So, but the key is to get off the hamster wheel altogether and form your own reality, form your own thoughts, and control your dick, fellas. That's the
Yeah.
biggest secret I would have for anybody.
That's the
Let me
key.
jump. Sorry, my
Go
bad.
ahead, I gotta let Coco go. She was after JR. Coco, go ahead. Then we'll come back to beatboxer. Go ahead, Coco. Come off mute. You're on mute. Come off mute.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm going to pop this up real quick. I would like to try to address this particular comment so we can dead it like forever. Like, please, let's dead this. If you want an echo chamber, just say that. If you want single women to get up here and moan and cry and bitch with you, just say that, and commiserate with you, just say that. Like, I'm taking the gloves off, because at this point it's nonsense. Why would you not want to hear from someone who has the life experience? Because I'm pretty sure I'm older than you, and has a lifestyle that maybe you don't want the same one, but you might want something around it, similar-ish to it. Why would you not want to listen to someone who is trying to impart wisdom? This is literally biblical. Maybe you don't believe, and that's okay. No judgment here. But that is why we're doing this. Because there are people that are whining, bitching, and moaning on the internet about how they single, they not married, baby daddy this, baby mama daddy, mama baby, all of this mess. So then when you get on here and you try to impart wisdom, all they want to hear is another sob story, another moan session, more complaining, and just commiserating. That's not going to help us. You talked about a seesaw earlier. That's not going to help us. Get off that seesaw. It's not going to help us. People need to hear that you're wrong. They need to hear you're wrong. He needs to hear he's wrong. She needs to hear she's wrong. We're not going to pat you on the head and say, good job. It's not a good job. You can't learn from that. Y'all say y'all working on y'all trauma. I'm trying to see. It's not giving that. It's not. It's not giving that. If your situation is not this, where you're toxic and not allowing the father to see his kids, then we're not talking about you. But there are so many women and men where this is their dynamic and this is their story. I have family members, both on the male side and on the female side, where I am very close to their situations, where I've lived this right alongside them. So yeah, I do feel like I can speak on it because I have a unique perspective having both sides. I could be a little bit more objective. The problem is I'm not going to get up here and I'm not going to co-sign female behavior just because I'm a woman. I'm not. And men, if you're waiting for me to just, clap for y'all just because I'm married, I'm not going to do that either.
Boo.
I'm going to be objective because that's what we need. Some more objective voices. Not everybody talking to an echo chamber. Girl, yeah, these men ain't shit, girl. I'm not going to do that with you because you might not be shit. It might be you. So I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry. And usually I don't use spicy language, but we could go there. I could do that. Because at the end of the day, you need to hear the message. And I'm sorry, but when women start saying that, I feel it's just because they want to deflect. When women start saying stuff like this, it's because they just don't want to hear it. If I was married, but I was coming up on here and I was commiserating, saying how men ain't ish, and yeah, girl, stay single because being married ain't nothing anyway. Being married ain't a flex anyway. Y'all will build a whole platform for me. Y'all will be following me by the thousands because I'm saying what y'all want to hear. It wouldn't matter then if I was married. Sprinkle lady married as she want to be. And y'all single women lining up to follow her right on into hell.
That's a good point.
Because y'all don't care about that. Y'all only care about a woman being married when she's not co-signing your behavior. Let's call it what it is.
Oh.
Alan, stop with this. This is tired, y'all. This
Well,
right
hold
here,
on,
this
Coco.
married comment, this is tired. It's tired.
Well, maybe she'll listen to me. I was a teenage baby daddy. I was a young husband. Then I was a divorcee. I struggled with child support. I was broke. I got married again, so that made me a husband again. And now I'm a father. So I had all of them. If you can't listen to Coco because she's been married for 20 years, well, if I only been married for 6, are you going to listen to me? I was a teenage baby dad. So I've been a baby daddy, an ex-husband, a husband, a teenage father, all of them.
So you didn't did. You say you didn't did it, Vince.
I check every box. The only thing I ain't been is
That's crazy.
the only thing I haven't been is a felon.
There it is. There it is. Appreciate that right there. Let me get this comment. Nikki also said, but when you look at the panel, you have one married woman with all men on the topic. As a listener, I would like to see some single mothers up there adding their perspectives.
Why
So,
don't you come up here?
Yeah,
Hell
myself.
no,
This is
keep
Be
them
the
away
change
for
you want to
sure.
see, girl. Be the change you want to see.
yeah. Let me just say this.
With your two children.
They won't do it. They won't do it. They get too in their feelings and they just forget it. We had a few on here until they got triggered.
Oh,
Well, yeah. No, let me just
Let's
say
talk about
this.
it. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Let's talk
Go
about
ahead.
it. That's exactly what happened. Let's talk about it. Yeah, I'm in my bag now. That's exactly what happened, Vince. Yeah, they was coming.
Ooh.
They were. But I think they got touched. Because at the end of the day, there hasn't been a topic that hasn't been about at least one of us at one point on this panel. There has been a topic that has been sensitive for almost every single person on this panel. Including me. Including me. That's the point though, right? Having real, transparent, open conversations. Every single person on here shares something personal about how a particular topic has affected them. Every single person. Because that's what this is about, right? This is about getting to the truth, having real, candid conversations, right? So what happens though is we'll say, I can handle it. I can handle it. I want to hear the conversation. I want to hear it. People come once or twice and then they don't come back because they don't want to hear it really. Not really. So let's be real. Like, I agree with you. I would love to have more women, period, on the panel. I would love that. That would be awesome. I don't need to be the only voice. I really don't need to be the only voice. But the problem is the men will sit up here and we will talk about men and say men need to do this and men need to do this and men need to do that. And the men all have to sit up here and listen to and watch us play video after video after video of some woman talking about what a man don't do, what he can't do, how he's got ED, VD, ADHD. And all these men sit up on this panel and they hear this stuff week after week after week after week after week after week. And they have the conversations. But then when it's time for us to talk about women, right? The women aren't as comfortable to sit up on the panel and have the awkward conversation about women. Just saying.
And then another thing, Coco, we don't agree on everything. Me and you go back and forth at least twice a month. Just gotta agree to disagree.
Right.
Then let's move on to the next topic. I don't take it personal. I know you don't take it personal. It's just our perspectives, and we move on.
And Chloe checked make me at least 2 or 3 times. That had me going, damn.
Hold tight for a minute. Hold tight for a minute, Joe. Let me address a couple of things. So Nikki also said, because every episode somehow lands back to the women, how she could have made better decisions, etc. So let me put this to bed. So this particular statement, listen, I have no issue with you, Nikia, but I like to stay with factual information. This is incorrect. Yeah, this is incorrect. We call fellas out all the time because we know that fellas are the other half of the equation. But what typically happens is when we are talking about fellas and what fellas ain't doing right, y'all don't show up. That's typically what happens. We've been doing this show for 4 years. When we are talking about what fellas don't do right, y'all don't show up to the show.
Period.
So let's just be honest about it. So it's not the fact that we always somehow land back on what women aren't doing. We talk about what men are not doing all the time. Y'all just don't show up to the show and you don't participate. So we got to be honest about that. Yeah, but I said from the beginning, this is a real show and there are real conversations and people are going to be honest. But if our first response is going to be getting emotional, getting triggered, or trying to label something as bashing, we're never going to get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we can't then come behind that and say there's really never a solution if our first response to the solutions is to get emotional, get triggered,
That part.
and want to get in our feelings.
That part.
That's why it never gets anywhere, because at the
That
end of the
part.
day, people can't absorb the lessons and hold themselves accountable.
And then we just end up
Yep,
going back and forth.
At the end of the day, all we got to do is pay attention out here. We got to pay attention to what's happening. We got to pay attention to the results. A lot of what we're seeing right now is, one, because a lot of people have become overly selfish. So all it is about self. And two, is because most people don't want to take accountability for their decisions and their actions. Those are the main two things that is destroying us as a people right now. Yep, and that is what it comes down to. Yep, so until we are ready to hold ourselves accountable for the decisions we done made, regardless if it's the mama, the daddy, whoever, until we willing to hold ourselves accountable, and then two, until we are willing, until we ready to stop being so selfish and just worried about self, maybe then we will see some different results. Yeah, but what what I can't go along with, and what I'm not about to let roll on this show, is for us to talk about what we not doing on this show. I know what we do on this show because I'm here every Wednesday night, and we call fellas out all the time, and we even have fellas come on this show and talk about how they went wrong in their decisions. We literally got dudes. Vince just put his hand up. We literally got men that come on this show and talk about where they went wrong and some of the bad decisions that they made.
Quay, I think I've been the most transparent person on this
For sure.
for 4 years.
For sure.
Almost every episode I say I feel guilty. Mm-hmm. Almost every episode I say I failed my adult kids in some way. On every episode I almost say I was a horrible husband. But I've taken accountability for that. And hopefully I'm trying to do better. That doesn't mean I'm perfect. But I think that's the problem. No one wants to say, you know what? I was just not the best person that first time. Yeah, I did have some accountability with these kids I done made. I knew he wasn't shit, but I was thinking he was gonna do something different. Or dude, you know what? I really wasn't paying attention that she didn't give me the perception of a good wife. Her booty was just big, and I just loved hitting it because she was easy. And now I got a kid with her, and I'm doing the best that I can. See, I think it's accountability. And because this society has pandered to black women so much, I'm sorry, it's just the truth. They have told y'all queen, mother God, you don't need your man. You can do it all by yourself. You superwoman, you strong, independent. You don't need no man. What's a black man? But they haven't preached that to their women, though. They haven't preached that to their women. Their women got husbands. So we got to take some accountability. That's it. And I know it's hard. I know because it's hard to look yourself in the mirror and say, I failed. It's hard. When you think you've done your best and it's still not good enough, that's hard to come to grips with. But you got to if you want something different.
Yeah, that's real right there. Go ahead, Coco.
Can I just do this? Y'all, and then I'm probably gonna log off. I'm gonna log off. Because I don't like this happening in the comment section. I don't like that. If y'all only knew how we get attacked in our comment section, if y'all only knew how offensive some of the comments get, y'all only see y'all comments. We have a whole nother platform on YouTube, which y'all Facebookers won't touch. You want to talk about being offended. This is where you have to get out your feelings. And some of the most egregious stuff is said by women. I just went back and forth with a woman on the show live. Y'all saw it. It's crazy to me, right? Y'all get on the internet, and I don't mean the women in these comment sections. Y'all get on the internet and y'all say some of the nastiest stuff about men. I post videos on YouTube all the time of women just saying, this last lady, she said men are ugly, gross, tired, stinking. I mean, she went off on men, just off. But the only time we got to worry about offense is when we say something and it's not in a nice voice. It's got to be in a nice voice. There have been people that have been offended simply because we said the truth, not even talking about them, not even talking about them, talking in general about the topic that was based off a video of some other chick we don't even know off the internet. And people in the comment section have got offended like we've been talking about them. Tell us we need to change our tone and we're not even talking about you. It's insane. This is the problem. This is what men are saying, y'all. This is what they're saying. They're saying they can't speak to you. They can't communicate with you because when they do try to communicate with you, this is what happens. Their tone. They didn't say it right. It wasn't kind. It wasn't nice. I've been disrespected by other panelists on this platform before. But I do when the kids said I put my big girl pants on. Because these people don't know me. They don't wake up in the morning with me and they don't go to bed with me at night. We're having conversations. We're just having conversations, y'all. Y'all talking about we in our feelings. I would say it's the opposite. Now we got to go back and forth in the comment section about how about how our tone. Yet y'all go on a show, y'all go and watch people like Kendra. Yep, her name too, Black. And she cussing y'all out when y'all come on her phone. She's saying all kind of disrespectful stuff. Sprinkle chick, she disrespectful too. Y'all love being talked to like that. That's entertaining until you get on our show. Then you're offended, right? Look, y'all can keep waiting for me to be somebody other than who I am. Keep waiting.
That's that. Ursh, it's on you, man. You want to say something, man?
Yeah, let me just so this is the thing. What I've noticed over the years and just in general, like, you know, a lot of times we come to have these issues is because of, you know, gender differences, you know, between men and women. So like a lot of men, we pretty much operate logically. We think about what's the facts about this. What's just what if it is, it is, it ain't, it ain't. That's why a lot of us are still on the panel, even though we get talked about or something, you know, or we have to share our things, or we get triggered. But you know, but like with the female gender, you know, I'm not just gonna put like a blanket over, but just, you know, generally, you know, for the most part, most women are, you know, inbred as being like emotional, you know, and that helps for being like nurturing and caring and being good mothers and all that type of stuff. So that's where we come to this problem where we say something that somebody doesn't like and they take it offensively and then they go all here and there and then we can't even continue with a conversation. And so that's we all got to understand that there are differences and we got to learn how to be able to listen to each other and just think logically, just put all that emotion aside and think about what's being said and try to go somewhere with it. Like, for example, this is kind of proving what we're saying about the whole baby daddy or deadbeat dad thing, where we're getting opposition, and this is just a panel. It's like, so imagine in real life in the actual relationship situation. It's probably the
Right.
same thing. How can you get
Facts.
in there? How can you talk? How can we move? How can we grow? How can we, if they're not even listening on this, you know? And I'm like, I'm not trying to bash or trigger anyone either. I'm just, again, I'm speaking logically, you know? And that's just what I wanted to say about that piece. I mean, we all have to do better in that area as far as like just being able to just listen. And that
But
goes
what?
back,
Okay, but
yeah.
let me ask this though, Hirsch, because I'm glad you're going there. But what is it though? Like what is really happening? Is it a lack of respect? Like, is that what it is? Like when do we get to this point where we can't have a conversation, you know, where we're addressing people's decisions, we holding people accountable, we talking about where we went wrong in the situations without it taking its turn? Like, for the life of me, I'm trying to figure that out.
Mhm.
Yep, and then we get the response of it's the tone, it's how you said it. It turns into all of this, you bash, it turns into all these things. It's like, when did we get to a point as men and women that probably have dealt with some of the same situations, some of the same traumas, and whatever, however you want to define it, but it's like we can't just have a conversation without it going off, without it taking this turn. Like, what is behind that? Because I can't understand it. Go ahead, Ursh.
So I try to, you know, the same, you know, also I try to figure it out too daily. But you know, this is the thing, you know, it goes back to like what Vince was saying earlier about the church and everything and the old school ways. Like this new age has turned individuals into just being just into themselves, and that's it. So how do I feel? What did you do to me? Or how did this make me feel? Or what is versus like what are we as a people? What do we all need to do together? And that's what the community we used to have, where everybody would be like, how are we gonna work this out? Not how am I gonna work it, or what's happening to me? That's not help that just one person being helped is not going to change anything. We got to work as a unit, you know, and I think that's it. And again, it's a lack of when we start to be selfish, automatically you're not respecting things. Or you know, you're not even respecting yourself. So when you're selfish, you're not respecting yourself. We don't even realize that, but you're not being respectful to yourself when you're being a selfish individual and just too focused into yourself. You know that you're not respecting yourself and you're not respecting the creator. So how are you going to respect anybody else? So it's impossible for us. So it's a lack of respect. It's a lack of morals. It's just a lot of people. And there's also just so many different factors in life. I mean, we all, you know, just with even with the world news now, talking about with all the tariffs and gas prices raising, we all have a lot of different things going on. It's like in our just coming at us in all different ways already. And then when we hear something we don't like, you know, it's like it just topples. You know what I'm saying? So it's again, it's a lot of different factors. But again, we all have to take our own accountability at the end of the day, especially as being adults. Because like once we are at that age where you've been through things, you learned some things, you made some mistakes, you bumped your head, you gotta do better. You know what I'm saying? All of us. You know, we can't be having these high school conversations, you know, we're going back and forth, arguing about something. We just can't have an actual just not even a debate, just a discussion. You know,
Right.
I mean the discussion. So like again, the question says, why are some black fathers deadbeats? We're explaining why are some black fathers deadbeats, and then that's not good enough. We are talking about the men. We're talking about the fact. So, in my opinion, I don't care about the ones that are like out here that are just you just know they're deadbeat. You knew that from the jump. They're a lost cause. We're talking about the ones that we could probably make a difference. The ones that actually want to be in their child's life, but they're having barriers. Those are the ones that we're here to talk about. The other ones, you know, they're gone, they're done. It's like, what's the point? You can't rehabilitate that. You know what I'm saying? But we can find a problem to even be proactive and preventive. You know, and this is how we can be preventive by having these conversations and people hearing the men's perspective of the other opposite sex. Like, for example, like this is a touchy thing for me. Like I've been triggered multiple times already in this panel already for this show because I you know, but I'm here And I'm not even bashing nobody. I'm not even saying, hey, y'all bashing me, this and that. No, I own up to my mistakes too, or to my choices, the things that I've done, but and I've been through all this, you know what I'm saying? I've had the opposition. When I'm not saying I'm the best person or saint or anything like that, but for the most part, there's never been a time in my son's life that I wasn't involved. I was involved even, but he was still in the womb. You know what I'm saying? I was buying for him and taking care of him before he was even out. You know what I'm saying? And then like the minute he comes out, me and his mom, we realize that it was in lust. I'm just being real. So, we split up, and then there were some differences, and a lot of factors is this. The government, the law creates this situation too. So for my son's mom to continue to keep her benefits, she had to put me on child support, or else they were going to take her benefits away, because we have to find out who's the father, so we can start charging him and taxing him. You know what I'm saying? And then, so that's what the courts create this situation, and they create the thing about, with the custody thing, the woman's not going to give rid of her kid, because I'm not speaking for everyone, but the ones that are on, government aid and Medicaid and stuff like that, they won't get that. They won't get those benefits if they have give the father sole custody. You know what I'm saying? It's like my situation, we had a custody battle. So my son's mother had she had a situation where she asked me to bring him into my home because she had to get her stuff together. Okay. And I was like, okay, I'll open arms. Like, yeah, of course. So it took a little longer than expected, and then, things were doing well. He had to start school. So we registered him in my district. And then, everything was going well. Then it made more sense because he lived, close to the school. She lived somewhere further out. We still got along. Everything was cool. But guess what happens? Good old FOC. They come in and they start talking about, reevaluating me and trying to increase my child support when he with me majority of the time. So I called them like, wait, what is this letter I'm getting? What is this? And I explained to them, I said, he's here with me this amount of time over my overnights. So then the person, the clerk or whoever on the phone told me, well, you got to go do this. You got to go to the court. You got to let them know this. And then you got to go through these little procedures. Me not really knowing exactly what's going on. I'm filing a motion and I'm creating a whole custody case now. Now we're in a custody case now. So now the son's mother calls me like, what are you doing? You taking me to court? You trying to take my key from me and everything? I'm like, no, but that's not how it started out. But then, I'm getting real candid, so then her and her side were starting to try to create certain things to make me look like a bad guy or a bad father, which I was untrue. And so and it kept dragging on. They did not want to come to an agreement. And the span took for 2 years for them to finally just give in and say, okay, whatever. But even through all of that, and through all this evidence and everything, the judge and the courts still was like, okay, you know what? We're just going to put straight down the middle, joint everything. And they still didn't give me credit. They just said that only they're going to make my house the primary residence because he's in the school district. So I have all this on paper, court paper and everything. Then, fast forward, we have some little disputes here and there, police called and this and that and everything. I try to show them my court paperwork. They looked at it real quick, handed it back to me, didn't do anything, nothing. But but then when the mom calls and then they're like around the door knocking on, telling me, oh, you have to give your child to your mom, whatever, to the mom. So it's a lot of stuff that the men's voices aren't being heard. Situations that go on. There's different situations, different sides of the story, different aspects of things. Like I said, I'm not innocent. You know what I'm saying? There's been times when I've been maybe petty or immature, really in the younger, like early stages. My son's like in his, toddler years or whatever. But eventually, me and his mom got together. We figured it out. We figured out what's more important. This is what the problem is right now. The most important thing is the being that you created. Now that's it. And about the daddy ain't about the mama no more. It's about this product, this thing we produce. That's what it's about, and that's where we're losing it. And again, because we're into ourselves. Like we can't have this topic because people are too into like whether the man's being talked more or the woman's being talked about more. We gotta just like put that aside and just keep moving. Like we gotta just get focused on what the real deal is. But our mentality, our brains are like it's so much going on. Our faces are stuck to our phones all day. It's our brains are being fried. It's just a lot of stuff where it's like it looks like it could be a setup for just destruction. But I think it's just the way just the cycle of life is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just like, like it's like the seasons, look at when you look outside, you saw the beautiful flowers and the trees and everything. Then, you go in the autumn and everything looks so gloomy and dead and terrible. But then again, it rebirths, and it comes back and it's beautiful again. That's just the cycle. So we're in that cycle now. I believe we're in that dead cycle, like where things are just dead or dying. Kind of like what Beatboxer and JR are saying about it's over with, that type of deal. That's like a few weeks ago, and I told you, remember I said we had to do a reset.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately, because we like I said, we can't even have this conversation here.
Yeah.
Herschel, you went through all of that.
Go ahead, B-Box. Go ahead, man.
Herschel, I'll be real quick. You went through all that with your baby moms, and you guess what the woman gave you on the comment section? A flipping fist bump. That's all you got. That's what I'm saying, and JR saying it's kind of over. It's kind of over because if that's all we get is a fist bump or attaboy Negro, nah, bro, it's over.
But I wasn't looking for any of that. I'm not even looking for a fist bump, man, because at the end of the day, I know what I do. I know what I've done. I know what I've been through. I don't need no recognition from nobody. I appreciate it.
I ain't saying that.
But I get exactly what you're saying, though. Because any other time, everybody will be throwing their hands up and doing all this other type of praise and this and that. I got you. I know.
If you were a woman.
Yeah,
Oh, did he know he deserves what he just said? I'm listening. I'm like, damn, this story. I didn't see him ever saying or talking about his situation that way, but I just have that much more respect for him. But he does deserve you. If it was the shoe was on the other foot and he was a woman with a wig on, with a wig on and some lipstick and some paint on his face. They be like, oh my God, girl, you go, girl. Oh my God, you go, girl, you go. So she will get all the praise in the world. So no, you deserve your flowers because a lot of men would have checked out. That's the point. Everything you went through, like I'm going here like, wow. And I know a lot of men who could not have gone through even a month of what you went through. And that's just the Cliff Notes version of what you told us. So, but it's when you're going through it, you're going through hell. It's like you're climbing through landmines. You're trying to get on the other side of barbed wire. And you're hoping that you survive at the other end of it. You hope that you come home and say, hey, I made it back home. And that means you have, something that's somehow coherent. You have something there. I got my kid, and I'm amicable with my baby mom. But these are things that no man should have to go through. But yes, you absolutely deserve the credit. You deserve more than a fist bump. You more than an attaboy. You deserve your flowers for that because you could have easily just taken the back road out and say, you know what, I'll let the mother deal with the kid, and then the son grows up and he becomes whatever. Maybe he turns out okay, maybe he won't. Most likely he won't. Something down the line, he doesn't know he doesn't have any discipline. He ends up in jail, in and out. He's selling drugs on the street. I've seen it. That was 90% of the men I know who didn't have the fathers that I had. So that's why I give you the credit and the flowers and the respect that you deserve, because you didn't even have to share that story. It's very personal, as opposed to a lot of women who wear it as a badge of honor. Yeah, I'm a single mom. Yeah, I did this. Like they're proud to be these things. Oh yeah, I've overcome. That's not, yeah, but you don't ever talk about the fact that you brought up that I made it work with the mother of my child. Like a lot of women don't even do that. Oh yeah, no, I did it on my own. I did it, yeah, clap for me. I did it all on my own. But you're even extending the olive branch and say, you know what? We came together and we still worked it out with the opposite sex because I know how important the mother of the child is in my son's life. And so, yeah, you deserve your flowers. So thank you.
Yeah, let me
thank you for that.
Yeah, no doubt. No, salute to that, man. Let me say this, and then we're gonna take some closing and get out of here. I got another one, but I ain't even about to put it up. Let me say this. I hope at some point we can turn this corner. Yeah, I'm really hoping at some point we can have conversations minus the emotion, minus the triggering. Yeah, I'm hoping at some point we can have a conversation and stop trying to be tone police. Like some of this stuff, I'm gonna be honest, I'm over it. Yeah, because I'm in so many conversations, I see this nonsense all the time. And when it gets real, that's when this stuff come out. Let me just keep it a buck. That's when the bashing come out. That's when the issue tone come out. That's when you was disrespectful. And it ain't nothing but facts. Yeah, but we try to use these things to shut down what we know we need to change about ourselves and our situation. And it's old. Yeah, but this is why we can't get ourselves to the next level. Yeah, we always moving in this emotion. And it's just like we too grown for this. Yeah, we too grown for it. Just own it. Yeah, you made some bad decisions. Just own it. We chose the wrong people. Just own it. Let me go all the way there. You not the right person. Yep, just own it. Yeah, sometimes we ain't on point like we think. Sometimes we ain't the best person in a relationship. Sometimes we ain't the best companion and partner. Just own it. It's not always the other person. Yep, you was involved in them decisions. You made them choices. You laid up. You chose that dude to be your dude. He wasn't the right dude. You chose that woman to be your woman. She wasn't the right woman. Just own it. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody tone. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody being disrespectful. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody bashing. It's got to do with you. Yeah, so I hope that at some point, us as a people, this is why we created this show, us as a people can turn this corner. Hold ourselves accountable, have a conversation minus all the emotions and the BS, and make some better choices and move forward for the sake of our kids, for the sake of our relationships, for the sake of our future. But I'm gonna be honest, man, because I'm in all these conversations. I'm over it. I'm tired of it. If I hear these same template responses all day long, tone, bashing, disrespect, tone, bashing, disrespect. It's the same nonsense all day long. And we got to grow up and move forward. Everybody ain't going to speak to you in the tone that you want. I trust and believe. I know your parents didn't speak to you in the tone that you want in all situations, because sometimes you just flat out wrong. So you ain't going to get the pretty tone. Yeah, I don't know where we get this nonsense from. But yeah, we need to let that mess go, man. Like I said, this is the stuff that's holding back the progress. Yeah, we can't get out our feelings. Yeah, we overly selfish. We don't want to hold ourselves accountable. We always want to point the finger at somebody else. This is why our stuff don't get no better. Yeah, this is why these relationships can't get off the ground. We out here struggling to get a relationship, and then we try to convince ourselves, oh, I'm so much better off by myself. And yet the whole time you would love to have a partner and love somebody to love on and somebody to love on you. Yeah, at some point we got to grow up, man, because that's what it's looking like to me. It's a lot of immaturity out here. Yep, and we try to act like because we a certain age that make us mature, but yet a lot of us still super immature and we really haven't grown up. But let me come back to the panel, man. We're going to wrap this up, man. I'm going to go from the top to the bottom and we out of here. Coco, you want to say anything before we get out of here for the night?
Yeah, real quick. I would have loved for this to have stayed on a topic about why are some Black fathers deadbeats. I would have loved for it to be that, but unfortunately, that's too difficult, because the minute we start to have these conversations, somebody's going to make it personal about them, and then they're going to start commenting about how they personally feel, which is fine. I think that's great. Let's have the transparent conversation. But then when people start to respond to their personal comments and reflections, then it's offensive and it's condescending. it's like you're gonna have to pick a side. Either you want to have the transparent conversation where you place yourself as the subject matter when you're not the subject matter, or you're gonna have to, pick a different platform. Here's the thing: if you feel like you don't like our tone, if you feel like we're unfair, if you feel like we're disrespectful, pick another platform. And I mean that respectfully. Pick another platform, because that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. This is why the young lady, I think her name is Marjorie, came on the panel a few weeks ago, and she said, Chloe, you can talk to the older women. I'm not gonna talk to the older women. I'm just gonna talk to these young women, because the older women not trying to hear it. And I'm like, I'm talking to anybody willing to listen. But I get why she's saying that. I get it. It's so hard to speak to women. It's so hard to speak to women. I'm a woman. I don't hate women. I legit don't hate women. I was a girl's girl before girls was a thing. But I'm not going to hold your hand and tell you everything you do is okay. And I don't want you to do that for me, because I can't grow. We're in these relationships. We got all these people around us, and nobody is being honest with us. Nobody's telling us the truth. So we walking through life thinking that we're good. Everything's good. Our attitudes don't suck when they do. We didn't pick the wrong man when we did. We had too many babies outside of a marriage arrangement. And we got all this trauma, but nobody wants to be honest with us and tell us that these things are affecting us, that they've affected us. Nobody wants to be honest, but we got all these people around us. So then when somebody is honest, we're offended. Kendra G has 200,000 plus subscribers on her YouTube. Just YouTube. She has a TikTok, an Instagram, and a Facebook. I don't even want to know what all it is combined. Kevin Samuels has 1 million plus subscribers on his YouTube. I don't even want to know how many he had on the other platforms. And y'all showed up every show. And these people cussed at you and yelled at you and disrespected you and purposely offended you because y'all like that shit. Yeah, I'm going there tonight. Y'all like it. It's entertaining to y'all. But then we come on this platform and we try to give you Jesus sprinkled in. We try to give you the truth. And for the most part, we try to chase it. But still, y'all saying we're offensive. And we can't get y'all to like, comment, and share shit over here. So let's be so for real. Let's be so for real. I'm crashing out tonight. Let's be so for real. Now I'm starting to understand why these men are deadbeats. They don't want to deal with y'all. I don't. Y'all have somebody ready to tap out somewhere. I'm ready to tap out. And I don't even got to be with y'all, sleep with y'all, co-parent with y'all, or anything else. This is insane. This will be my last time going there. I'm done. At this point, no, I'm done. Now I got to go repent. I'm done. I'm done. From now on, I'm going to say the honest truth. And I'm going to deliver it the way it needs to be delivered. And either you can decide to accept that and understand my heart and where I'm coming from. Because by now, if you've been watching the show any length of time, you should know where my heart is. Either you can accept it or you can move around respectfully. This is why men are deadbeats. This is why. Because nobody wants to deal with this. It's insane.
It is. Beatbox, it's on you, man. You want to say anything before we get out of here?
Sure. Yeah, shout out to the panel. Herschel, that was a really, what you said really touched me. I'm going to be honest. And Vince as well. And I will say to Coco's, to like, you're kind of like a man with no country. You know, you're kind of like, you're very rare. I'll say this. One of the reasons why we can't have these conversations is that, like I said, and even JR said, is that we got one side of the coin not really wanting to listen. And I'll be vulnerable and like Herschel was. One of the reasons why I am the way I am is because my own mother was it kind of wasn't the best person either. And she's married to my father, and they've been married for like 30-ish years. But one of the issues that my mother really couldn't deal with was accountability. And my father, to bless his heart, is weak. And that's a problem we have in the Black community, I think, in and of itself. We have a lot of men who are not willing to drop their balls and say what they need to say. Hence why I'm the way I am, because I'll say it. My younger brother will say it. I have a younger brother, and he's honest too. And we got a real big problem here where men are afraid to say what they need to say because of, like we saw in the comments, what happens. This is what happens. We see this all the time. You say what you need to say, and then women got to say something. And sometimes a lot of men will back that up too, right? You got the Derek Jacksons of the world. You got the Trey Sheltons of the world, Mark Lamonts. We have an abundance of men who will back that up. And it's unfortunate. I'm going to say this, and again, JR is going to say this, probably going to repeat kind of what I'm saying. We need the other side to hear what we're trying to tell y'all. We're trying to help y'all. There are too many Black men who are going to say we don't care. I'm trying to tell y'all, even though I am married to a white woman, I'm even trying to tell y'all, hey, for you to have a better life and a better outcome, these are the things you need to do. I guarantee, like, Black men in general, we are so, amongst all men in general, we're the most egalitarian. There's so many things we will deal with that other men will not. I'm trying to tell you, we're more easier than a lot of men are. We really are. You just need to listen. Seriously. If you're not going to do it, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know what to say. And this is from me. And let me be clear, as a politically, where I'm at, because sometimes I think some of this comes from a political context. Some people, women are like, oh, you must be conservative. I'm progressive. I am just right of Bernie Sanders. I am a socialist. Even I'm trying to tell you, this is what you need to do to get the best outcome. I'm trying to tell you. And if you don't want to do it, it's kind of over. If you don't want to listen, I don't know what to say. Like, these are things you need to do in order to get a man to look your way. Good luck, ladies.
Man, you ain't closed it out with good luck, did you, man? let me come over to Herschel, man. Herschel, you want to say anything before we get out of here, man?
Yeah, okay. My last thing was kind of lengthy, so I'll kind of make it short. I just want to, say I still appreciate this opportunity for everybody to be able to share and try to discuss, everybody's feedback, everybody's points. We got to validate it, whether, we agree or disagree, So I'm gonna leave with that. But as far as the deadbeats, and again, it just goes back to it's a lot of factors. The system, the other sex, and the men themselves. So it's a lot of factors about why some of us are. So we have to kind of look at those things in each one and try to find a way to, work towards those things. And so we were trying to, but we see what happens. But I'm in with this though, because I did share my story. I don't want one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to come off like my son's mother was a bad person or was this or that. She's a wonderful mom. Like I'm telling, like she's been there for him. Like when she had him solely, like she really looked out for him and took care. So and I got love for her. I love her. You know what I'm saying? As his mother. We could never really work out as far as relationships goes, but as far as co-parenting, yeah, she's there. So I'm giving her credit. I'm not just like when I said about the court and all that stuff. That was some past things, and a lot of times we again off of emotion, people do things out of emotion. So I just wanted, I don't want to be like, yeah, he was just over there like, bashing his mom, baby mom, and all that type of stuff. No, just give her that credit and just thank everybody for your opportunity for even be able to share.
Yeah. No, we appreciate the transparency, man. And no, we didn't take it like that at all. Yeah, no. So we totally understood the story. You know what I'm saying? You provided the context, so we totally got it. So no, we can tell, you know what I'm saying, she taking care of business. We know you taking care of your business, you know what I'm saying, to make sure the outcome is best for y'all son, for y'all son, and that's what matters. So no, we didn't take it like that at all, man. So you ain't got to worry about that. All right, let me come on down to Vince. Vince, what you want to say before we get out of here, man?
Yeah, I just want to say, well, first that to be a deadbeat is a choice. I don't believe in excuses, but there are reasons. Now, to the relationship and the culture thing, well, I'm married to a black woman, so I guess y'all might even listen to me. Y'all might not want to listen to me, but y'all, when she a white woman, which don't matter. They all women. They all have feelings. They all pretty much the same. But I will say, for a lot of you ladies, now I was single for a long time, over 20 years. The second date I had with my wife, she said something I had never heard a woman say. She said, I take full accountability for the fools I chose to have a kid with.
Mm.
And it's the situation. I know it's challenging. I know these are boys, but what I take full responsibility of them. But I do want love. I do want a husband. And I promise to give you peace. And that's what men want, ladies. We none of us are perfect. Let's get that out the way. None of us are perfect. We have all made some decisions, especially when we get up to them 35, 40, 45. We've all had bad relationships. We've all had toxic or whatever. A lot of men just say, you know what? For those of us who maybe want to get married, we just want maybe a good 20 more years of peace and honesty. That's all we really want. We just want to come and say, you know what? I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. Let's take these two imperfect people and try to make a perfect love. That's all it is. But y'all got to listen to the men that y'all want and stop letting your ears be them tingling ears, because most of the people that are talking to black women are in y'all pockets. They don't care about y'all. They don't care about your kids. They don't care about the culture. They don't care about you finding a husband. All they want you to do is subscribe, buy their Derek Jackson book, and he cheating on his wife with a Instagram model. Umar Johnson, two-time baby daddies, but he want to call y'all queens and mother goddesses and everything. But a man who's honest and sincere and telling y'all the truth, y'all worried about his tone. Y'all worried about, he talking about I'm overweight. Yes, you overweight, baby. Yeah, you got a bad attitude, baby. The same thing you said about these men. Yeah, bro, you broke. You don't have a vision. You don't have a purpose. How you wanna lead a woman you don't know how to lead? It go both ways. But see, the problem is that men don't get pandered to. When the last time you heard y'all kings? All black men are kings. It don't matter what you do. You just a black man and you're king. No, they say that for LeBron James and Robert Smith and those type. It ain't just the average old black man out here.
No.
It's for the upper echelon, but all y'all queens though. So you have to understand that sometimes it's like We don't want to cure the disease. We just want to deal with the symptoms. Just make me feel better while I'm going through cancer. Don't cut my leg off and kill the cancer. Just make me feel better. And my thing is, ladies, do you want to feel better or do you want to do better? That's it.
That's real, man. Appreciate that closeout right there. JR, so you want to say anything before we get out of here, man?
Yeah, thank you once again for having me on, chopping up with the panel and people in the comments. Yeah, obviously, you know, you're talking about the truth and whatnot, about, you know, men always doing better, becoming better as always. And yeah, like I said previously, there is men that do make the choice to be deadbeats. Some men become deadbeats after the situation, you know. So yeah, like I said, in this current situation that we're in, we're trying to fix it. And Beatboxer said, you know, the men, you know, dropped it. And I'm saying they need to pick up the footballs between the third leg, you know, and talk to their daughters. So that means get back in their lives, get back in your son's lives. That means, you know, they're going to have a good perspective of what it is for you to be with the mum. Hopefully, it's a fruitful situation and they can take something from that. And then we move on from there and see where it takes us. So, yeah, I think it's back on the men, the dads, to sort this out. Let's talk to our kids, you know, get back in their lives and do what needs to be done. And then hopefully the women gonna sort their stuff out. And then we go from there too. Thank you.
No, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate that closeout, man. Joe, it's on you. You want to say anything before we get out of here?
Yeah, everyone touched on all the different potential possible reasons why Black fathers can be deadbeat. Um, from my own stories, anecdotal or otherwise, I think ultimately, like I really like what Big Boxer said earlier about how it's just honestly lust is it's just I think it blinds us to the reality of who we really are amongst ourselves and to each other. So it also distorts character. So you can't really see the other person for who they are until after, and we men, we call it post nut clarity. Your eyes are open to the truth of the nature of this woman, her personality, her flaws, her all these other things that we ignore, not intentionally, but that's just I guess that's just the way our nature is for both sides. You know, I'm hot over here for this person. But we're not animals. You know, God gave us the agency to be able to harness that passion that we have for one another, but also to take a step back and look at each other for who we really are. But when we forego that critical thinking ability that God also gave us, that rational mind, and we let that animal mind take over, then you have the situation that we have now, where men are like, "Oh shit, yeah, I just okay, bye," because now he sees her for who she really is. And I'm not just talking about the face, the makeup coming off of the hair, all that. No, but just the little things that might irk him, or vice versa, the little things about him that irks her about him. And it can be the little things that you think is insignificant that makes a big difference. But because that foundation wasn't established in the first place, because that woman did not demand that she get married first before she lay down with the man, because a man is not going to commit to a woman that he doesn't love. He has to love her in order to commit to marrying her because he knows what stakes are involved. He knows the commitment that's required to do so. So if a woman really wants to be with a man who's going to be most likely to be in the child's life, then yes, it's almost a requirement that he loves the woman, because especially if the child looks like the woman, he's probably going to be more inclined not to be in that child's life if he doesn't like the woman. So that can also create a deadbeat father. Oh man, oh, my son looks just like the mother, and I hate my mother. I hate the mother of my son, the mother of my daughter. So you're looking at a reflection of the person that you only had a sexual relationship with and lustful. So you're going to have some sort of animosity towards that child. I think that plays a big part in it as well, and vice
Yeah.
versa. You know, so you had the mother mistreating the son because the son looks like the father, that she hates his guts because they both came into the relationship and the situation without that foundation, without taking a step back and looking at the forest from the trees. So if
Right.
we learn how to control our libido, then I think we'll be just all right.
Okay. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that closeout, man. Makes sense to me. I'll just say this, and we're gonna get on out of here. For me, it's really simple. So I challenge men and women to ask themselves the same question. Yeah, what did you do or what did you contribute to the situation? If it be negative or positive, what did you contribute to the situation and why the situation is what it is today? And I'm gonna leave it just like that. Man, shout out to my panel, Coco, Herschel, Beatboxer, Joe, JR, my guy Vince was on as well. I think that was all my panel. Appreciate y'all holding me down tonight. Shout out to everybody in the comments. I said, I know it got a little hot tonight, but at the end of the day, that's the only way that we can move forward. It's the only way that we can progress and move in a better direction as a community as a whole. If you haven't already, smash that like button, hit that subscribe as well. Once again, we're trying to grow the platform and get these great conversations out to as many of our people as possible. And lastly, I'll say this and then we out of here. This is not an echo chamber. We ain't all here to agree. We're here to give our perspectives, have a conversation to move us forward. Yeah, I'm all for somebody disagreeing. I'm all for somebody agreeing to disagree, however you want to call it. Let's have a conversation to move us in a better direction, lead the emotions out, and let's try to get us there. Simple as that. But man, this is Kandid Konvos. We do this show every Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We go live on YouTube and Facebook, so definitely like, share, and subscribe. But man, with that being said, everybody have an awesome night. We're going to catch y'all next Wednesday.